Shout out to the happy gamer, healthy gamer rather. He is what I would call, at least recently, singularly responsible for a lot of my changes in thought processes when it comes to mindfulness and being present in the moment and being aware in the moment and not overthinking things that aren't occurring, but staying present, focusing, slow down. So yeah, definitely shout out to him. He made a video, and I might do a reaction to it at some point. He made a video on perfectionism, which for myself is at the heart of a lot of my issues. And I would imagine I have a lot of friends, I met through YouTube and what have you, military as well, and they deal with a lot of perfectionism, just the need to accomplish and accomplish and build and build. When it comes, especially to military individuals that I've met, people I've met through YouTube, amazing work ethic. What we don't have is rest ethic. We kill ourselves, bruh. On both sides of the candle. I need to grow. I need more money. I need more stuff. I need more things. I need more jobs. How will people view me if I don't get 100% on the test? If the moment occurs where I approach old girl and the interaction doesn't go 1000% smoothly, what will happen if people view me less than perfect? What if I go to work and I'm late? How does that affect my perception in the office? How does my leadership view me now because I was late once? So I'd rather be an hour early than risk being 2 minutes late for the sole reason of I don't want to be perceived negatively. You can stop being a perfectionist. Why? Because you understand what's under it. The foundation of perfectionism is what? Fear. It's pride. Those are fixable. In the majority of rational minds, those are fixable variables. How will people view me if everything is not perfect or to my liking or to their liking? If I say no, what will happen? If I say I don't want to go, even though they were so kind to offer and so kind to invite me, if I don't want to go to whatever concert with singing that they're having, pass, bruh. Pass. There's a fear. It's an ongoing fear that a lot of us choose to live with because we want to be perceived in a certain light. We want. I don't wear U.S. Polo. I wear Ralph Lauren. We want certain things to distinct. Like, please don't group me in with the Dusties, bruh. Please don't group me in with I'm different than everybody else. You're really not. One thing I had to humble myself with is I had to admit to myself, Brett, you are not different than everyone else. In terms of what you are, in terms of your humanity, your fears, that's nothing new. That's nothing new. It's normal for humans to have fears. Why? Because we're taught it. Babies will touch the stove because they like the color. And then they learn. Don't do that. You see their parents react and they see fearful faces. They learn that. When I tell y'all, I've spent the majority of my adulthood misinterpreting what I would think to be a micro expression or someone being disgusted with me or didn't like me. I would spend most of my adulthood reading micro expressions and reacting to them mentally, not physically, but in terms of the stress that I was causing myself to constantly be on edge. I have to be better. I have to be top 10%. I joined the Air Force, basic training. I have to be honor grad. As soon as I heard it, I'm like, I want it. I got it. Of course. Tech school. I want to graduate with honors. Did that. Staff, first time. All these little tiny little things that in hindsight don't mean shit to me now, right? Like I promise you, I don't care. It was my mind being wrapped up in I need to have this approval from the people around me. I talked to my dad about this as far as I was the kid that got in trouble the most. And that stays with you over time, especially into adulthood, where if it was never dealt with in a healthy manner, you will stay with the mindset of, I have to earn people's love. I have to earn everything around me. If I have peace around me, I have to earn that. I have to pay for it. In a lot of ways you do. But when it comes to humans, there are people right now that love you simply because of what and who you are. Even on like live streams like this, one of my greatest anxieties and fears that I'm definitely and slowly moving away from and growing out of is the need to have everything on this live stream go perfectly, smooth, start to finish. My upload speeds are slow. I checked them earlier. I'm like, bruh, I don't know if so I had to lower the resolution down to 720p. I started noticing lagging whenever it occurs. It's those small little things I have to accept in the moment. And it allows me to be present when I just ignore those things and say, focus. If it comes out badly, whatever. You tried. You tried, man. I've been practicing mindfulness. And by one thing I hate with these tangents, first of all, but all these buzzwords is that they're actually literal instructions. And then this is the issue I keep having with like language. Some of the instructions that a psychologist or a counselor might give you, they're literal. And for people like me that may or may not be on the autism spectrum disorder spectrum, a lot of those things tend to get missed in translation, where I'm like, no, this is literal advice. Control your mind. Analyze your breath while you're breathing. Don't change it. Don't adjust it. Just look at it. Look at it with your mind. Look at it. Control it. You have the power. It's crazy. Simple analogy. Men can think of women in given positions and get erections. How is the physical being controlled by the mental? It's that simple of analogy to explain how everything else in your life works that same way. Everything you think about grows. Slow down, stop moving, don't touch it, put it down, and just think. Breathe, think. What is the logical solution here? Not the worst thing that could happen. What is the logical solution available to me right now? Why would I put myself into turmoil? Why would I have, previously when I've had situations very similar, I would literally drink myself into a stupor. I would have anxiety for 12 hours plus, depending on when it started in the day. It used to ruin my entire 24 hours. Excuse me. It used to ruin my entire 24 hours. One wrong thing would happen. And I would go lay in the bed and order DoorDash and turn the blinds down and listen to Seinfeld in the background while I swipe on TikTok and Instagram. And I would let it consume me. I would let it slowly consume me to where all I could think about was the problem. All I could think was about the problem. You will never get a solution thinking about the problem. Observe the problem and then look for solutions. Don't observe the problem and then look at the problem. That makes no sense. This is coming from a person who called himself rational and logical and imperial and linear and pragmatic and practical. But when the smallest little thing that has a simple solution that I can't see because I'm so focused on, bruh, why is it breaking? What? This was not supposed to break. Hey, this is breaking. What? Who broke this, bruh? Whose fault is this? When the solution is, you don't have to stay, right? You don't have a lease. Just go pick another one. You don't have to pay for a week. You have to pay for it tonight. That's it. There is no tomorrow. That exists in your mind only. There is no tomorrow. There is no past, even though you might have suffered consequences. The consequences come today. Tomorrow when you wake up, it will be called today. You will never wake up in tomorrow. Knowing all these ramblings and still making the wrong choice is called cognitive dissonance. It exists in smart people too. It exists in neurotic people. It exists in anyone who knows the right thing to do and chooses not to for whatever reason. And then finally you get to a place where you realize, let me just try the alternative. The worrying, no amount of anxiety has ever changed the outcome, ever. It doesn't happen. No amount of anxiety has ever affected the outcome. It only makes you suffer. You suffer. You walk through the mall, you see a beautiful person, and the first thing you think is, they're not attracted to me. Of course they wouldn't be. They're out of my league. No, they're taken, married. What are they thinking about? They're not attracted to me. They're probably married. He would never be interested in me. No. No, there's no way. No one's thinking about you. They're thinking about themselves. Humans walk through traffic thinking about themselves. They walk down the street thinking about themselves. They don't care about you. Unless you're giving them something, they don't care. Unless you strike an emotional debt with them, as far as, emotional appeal, what have you, they do not care. They're minding their own business. You guys are here because of something you want. Not because of something I'm giving, it's because of something you want. That's how the world works. That's how humans operate. And so to worry yourself with the thought process of everyone is thinking about me when you know it's not true. You know that's not true. That's the foundation of anxiety, is wrong information. Wrong information, man. I need to calm I feel my anxiety rising. I'm like, bruh, again, what is wrong? What's wrong? And I feel anxiety. Why? Oh, because you're talking too fast, or you got to move on, or you're not covering the topic enough, you didn't cover the comments enough. If people don't want... You see how anxiety works? It has no foundation. It's just a Ferris wheel. You go in circles, and nothing bad happens, and then you realize, I've watched worse streams than mine. Way worse. Way less resolution. Way less, intentionality. Audio trash, and I've sat through it because I wanted to watch it. And yet, I will sit here on my own stream and lose my shit mentally. I feel my stomach calming now just thinking about it, because logic it makes sense when someone else tells you, but the second you tell yourself, I'm like, well, of course, no, that's not it. It can't be right. It's crazy how that works. I watched some TikToks the other day, and it was more profound in the moment than it was when I went back and watched it again. And I'm like, all right, this wasn't that deep. But it was people going up to strangers, giving them compliments. And there was one specific one, I believe it was a supermarket, and it was a brother. And he started going off on this couple. He was like, bro, I see you out here, bro. You doing your thing. We got the earring, man. He started blessing him. His girl was looking over and what have you. And it was just a wholesome moment. And you could not help but cheese. You could not help but just... You can't resist that. That energy is so genuine because you see people light up. Whatever they were thinking about, whatever they're in their head about, and losing it, you can break their concentration, which depression requires concentration. Anxiety requires concentration. It just depends on what you're concentrating on. And you can tap into a genuine moment by simply giving, not wanting back. Just give. Hey, and side note, in case anyone who ever thinks about making TikToks like these, please don't just say, hey, I like those pants. Those are cool. That is weird. I don't, and this might just be a me thing, but good Lord, bro. A compliment needs to be about what you would discern them enjoying being complimented about, not what you like about them. No, compliment them on what they want to be complimented on, because that's how you actually build rapport with someone, is knowing them well enough to know what pleases them, brings happiness to them, not what brings happiness to you. If I say, yo, you are sexy as fuck, man, that's about me. That's because I want something. That's because I'm feeling something. That's because I have desire. But if I say, yo, your poems, I was reading the other day, and I shared with a friend, and like we just enjoyed your poetry. It was unique. It was heartfelt. It was insightful. It was abrasive slightly. It made me actually think. That's what they put their heart and effort into. That's what they would want to be complimented on. At our core, everyone wants to be appreciated for something different than what they came with on this planet. I'm tall. When I get compliments on my height, I didn't earn that. But if somebody says, yo, I watched your live stream the other day, quality stream, man, I'll be crying my eyes out, you understand? I'll be in the back room with the blinds closed, bro, just sombering to the gods and to the heavenlies. Because there's certain things you care about, and you want those things to work so badly that when someone else meets you halfway, or someone can empathize with you and say, yo, I see you working hard on that hard work. I see you. We're all simple creatures, and yet we all want to be so profound and deep, and a lot of us can be. Some people are more complex than others. But humans are humans, bruh. The more I become human, the more I realize, bruh, I don't want a lot. I truly, this house is nice. I don't want a lot, bruh. I want AC and Wi-Fi. In most cases, a shower head that's above my head. A shower head, I don't need good water pressure. I just need a shower head that's taller than me. That's it. That's it. So of course we know we're definitely living in abundance and we're grateful. The surplus is much nicer. You understand? Murphy's law: what can go wrong will go wrong. What can go wrong will go wrong. Now, if that's true, shouldn't the inverse be true? What can go right will go right. The evidence for either is anecdotal. It's speculative. It's conjecture. It's subjective. It's relative. So yours is right and mine is right. I'm just choosing mine because if I look for positivity, I seem to find it. If you search on YouTube, positive moments, you get positive moments. If you type in YouTube, negative moments, you get negative energy. It's how it works. Whatever you search for, you find. That's why they say seek and you shall find. Because whatever you're looking for, you have to find it. It's not hidden. It's not hidden. Gold, you can get it today. You just got to pay for it. The best rubies and gems and Rolls Royces and jets and houses, all of it is for sale and available today. You can have it today. It's already been discovered. Most things are not hidden. So most of us just don't have a question. We don't have a goal. We don't have a desired destination. And we've never stopped to think about, what do I actually want? I've spent more time asking myself simple questions like, what do you want to do today? I'm sure anyone who works a regular 9 to 5 or in the military, what have you, I know exactly. I'm going to sleep. I'm going road trip. I'm going here. But what happens when you're doing that every day? And that's now normal. I have way more empathy for people that are loaded, billionaires, millionaires, trust fund kids. I have a lot more empathy for them because there's a certain point where you, especially financially speaking, where you reach a peace that you can't exceed it. Peace to me is binary. I either have peace or I don't. It's a light switch, off and on. When I reach a moment where I'm like, all right, this is like today, this very moment, this is peaceful to me. The live stream is working. It's working. I got people watching, 9 people, bruh. What? I'm grateful. I'm a grateful ass nigga. I promise you I'm a grateful ass nigga. I promise you. Peace. I can't increase it. I have candles burning already. That TV has an underlying binaural beat, layers and soft strings, what have you. It's soothing my person. The AC has been set to 60 and will remain there until I leave the premises. You understand? I'm at peace. I can't get more, but I can lose it. It can be turned off. So yeah, it's an interesting perspective. Once you get to these different places in life, you read old books because from a different place, you'll be looking at different information from your perspective. Now that when I go back and read Think and Grow Rich, or The Game of Life, How to Play It, I have a whole new perspective now that I live in that place that I've always wanted to be in. I do not want to work. No. My ancestors were slaves. No. It's an option. A lot of people don't realize the option to not work, it's an option available to you right now. You just don't know how to do it. I didn't know how to do it. I fell into it. I was blessed. The law of attraction. I'm not huge on Scorpio and what's your sign? I'm not too big into the pseudosciences. But when I tell you, I believe in the law of attraction, the law of vibration, the law of I believe in these laws as much as I believe in the law of gravity. I'm trying to find contrary evidence that says that these laws are just as superficial and unfounded as, your sign. The evidence is lacking. I'm getting results. I'm getting positive results. I'm getting anticipated results. I'll take it. What else do you want? What else would you want? You want results. And if I don't care what form they come in, I don't care how my peace comes. I just want peace when I wake up. I want the sound of air conditioning to be the soundtrack of my life. I want to wake up and hear nothing but air conditioning and maybe some slight breathing from the person next to me. That's it. My house smells like oud at all times. Eucalyptus, lavender, vanilla. We're not playing games, bruh. Once you realize you can have what you want, you just have to ask for it. You have to go after it. You have to seek it. And I'm saying that as a person who documented his attempts for the last 6 years. My entire Air Force career is me chasing something. I'm now making you a live stream from the place of catching it. I caught it. There's a video on this channel. It may be for members only, but there's a video. I believe it's a vlog. I believe it was titled like. I think the first time I titled it was like Monday morning in like 2039, and it was me in New York City. Obviously I do my same schedule. It was a simple morning of I'm not late for work. I'm not headed to an office. I'm not headed to a damn cubicle. No, bruh. Absolutely not. You finally wake up to a place where like when I would take leave, and again, all this stuff is vlogged. All of it. One thing I love about Christian Guzman, he documented the whole journey is documented. All of it. If you want to see when he was struggling, when he was going through something, it was documented. If you want to see me struggle and hang on for any dear life I had when I was living in Alaska, all of it's documented. Doing live streams and not wanting to, but I had nothing else to do. I was lonely. I was depressed. I wanted to die. Not metaphorically. I want to go to sleep, bruh. I would like to go to sleep. That's it. I would like to slumber eternally and indefinitely because I'm tired. Everyone will reach that point. And of course, we're getting off track, but you get the point. There are things that you desire right now and you've been afraid to ask for it. I left the Air Force as a staff sergeant with anxiety and depression and who was overweight. I left the Air Force at 260. Thankfully, your boy is substantially less now. You stop playing with your boy. We doing work out here. But I did not leave rich. I did not leave the Air Force with a YouTube channel that could support me financially. That was the goal. That's what I chased the entire time I was in the Air Force. I started in tech school. I tried. I said, Brad, I just want a channel that I can live off of and answer questions and do live Q&As and vlogs and shit. Just like anyone else who wanted to do TikTok full-time or YouTube full-time. And then now I'm in a place where you realize the thing I was chasing wasn't the thing that benefited me in the way that I wanted to be benefited. It wasn't even that. We get often so caught up in the mechanism when I'm like, why? Because now you're just having anxiety about that. Now you're just overthinking that. You're living in the future instead of the present. You're overthinking something that has not occurred or won't occur. Why are we overthinking anything? Most solutions are simple. Wisdom is subtraction in most cases. Any and all outcomes in a situation are possible, both good and bad. The axiom of Murphy's Law is a curse to those of us that are overthinkers. We just tend to focus on negative possibilities. Well said. You're punishing yourself, which makes no sense. Why? Why would you punish yourself? There's no upside to it. If something bad happens, be mad then. And even then, why be mad? You can't control it. It already happened. It's done. It's done. One thing, when I was a child, my last whooping was at 16 years old. But I would always sit on my bed, especially when my dad would love to give me foreshadowing. Yo, tonight at 10 p.m., I'm whoop your ass, man. And I'm like, bro, it's 9 a.m., bro. Whoop me now. Just get it over with. I don't want to think about this whooping all day long. For what? Like, we're on the way to church. Yo, when we get home tonight, I'm gonna whoop you, bro. I'm like, bro, what? No, whoop me in the car now. I don't want to. The pain upstairs is worse than the actual whooping. If I have a court case and they say, bro, all right, let's adjourn on, let's come back next year, maybe June. I'm like, bro, what am I supposed to do then? Just sit there and read precedent and archives and protocols and statutes and litigate? No. Sentence me today, all of it. Give me the verdict, give me the sentence, give me the jail cell, the clothes, all of it. Send me right now. Because often it's quite difficult, especially when you're in the situation, when you're immersed in it. Like Tory Lanez, like you're just waiting for somebody to hand you, your life on an alarm clock. That's tough. That's tough. That's the purpose of wisdom, is that it doesn't guarantee you growth. Wisdom does not guarantee you growth. Write this down. Wisdom does not guarantee you growth. Wisdom guarantees you preservation. It keeps you intact where you are in a whole manner. So it doesn't mean that you're constantly expanding and doing better. No, that's where knowledge comes from. That's where information. And then wisdom tends to be the application of knowledge, because there's a right way of doing things. There's protocols, there's authorities in place. But in most cases, wisdom is you don't need more. Maximize what you have now. Jeremiah says something that made me pause. There's a saying: a man will receive 1,000 ills and 1,000 wills. Everything is a choice. A man is as he thinks. You are what you think about. There are no exceptions, unfortunately. There are no exceptions. The reason why you have anxiety is because you think you have anxiety. Now, in any logical atmosphere or ecosystem, I will immediately be flagged for circular reasoning, sir. The subconscious mind doesn't understand sarcasm. It doesn't understand when you're just joking around, when you're just joshing, when you're being fallacious. Is that the right term? Fallacious. I think it's slightly adjacent. I have to look that up. I think it is. The subconscious mind doesn't know when you say I hate myself. It just note it. It runs with it literally. So when I say I am happy, just like in a nightmare, your mind can't tell the difference between something real happening to you and causing you, stress versus something imagined happening to you. I can imagine a beautiful woman touching my shoulders and the mind is powerful. The mind is powerful. Think about someone scratching their nails on a chalkboard right now. I'll give you a visual. It's crazy. And we will have all these different analogies that they were able to reference and like just imagine, just imagine, and you take your mind someplace else. Why is that even possible? You look like your decisions. It started in your mind. Your best thinking has gotten you where you are today. Your best thinking. All the decisions you thought were just amazing your best thinking has gotten you where you are today. That has nothing to do with your tomorrow. Nothing. All your decisions you made leading up to yesterday has created your today. Don't just assume no. Why do we just assume the worst? No, of course it's no. Of course they're married. Of course they would never hire me. For what? That has no purpose. It has no utility to overthink and assume the worst. There are preparations, there are contingencies, there are preparations that go into certain things to ensure a highly probable achievement of success. But it doesn't make sense for you to do all the legwork. You got life vests on, you got a harness, you got extra water, you got extra gasoline, you got a sat phone, you got a mobile phone, you got a landline, you got a printer, you got a fax machine, you got a copier. You have all the stuff. You got AI generated, ChatGPT-4, Bard, new iPhone, the new headset, the new virtual reality, new augmented reality. You have all the stuff and you're prepared. You're prepared. I got EpiPen. I got aspirin. I got everything I need to be successful. And then you say, this will never work. And I'm speaking from someone who does this, who used to at least. That makes no sense. I spoke to a psychologist in Fairbanks, Alaska. One of my issues that I was dealing with at the time was perceived incompetence. I was brand new in one deep position, had no idea what I was doing. There was a clock on it because we had budget closed out in 3 months, and so I had to spend all this money legally and directly, advise the base commander on how to go about spending these funds and how much we have. And I'm like, I don't know how to use these archaic systems, bro. I just check my bank balance, and then if I need to send money, I just Venmo or Cashapp it, and it's done. It takes like 24 hours to get the money. First, I got to find out how to read a status of fund. I don't even want to mention the lingo, but I go through all these processes. I get through budget closeout. I go through ALS, graduate, distinguished graduate. Again, if anyone looked at my resume and was like, "Wait, you look like you just breezing through the thing," I'm like, look at the gaps of suffering that I caused myself on the path to success makes no logical sense. I look and sound like a fool when I put in all this work, legwork, consistency, time management, goal setting, application of reverse engineered goals into daily, hourly steps. I have it all documented. I lived it. To do all of that and then say, yo, I'll probably be homeless and I'll, probably, I don't know if there's hope for me. That makes no sense. And yet we all do it. And we're good at it. We're skilled at psyching ourselves out of anything. It makes no sense. ChatGPT is amazing. I have it on my phone. I got my iPad. I got my laptop. I use it for everything. You can so side note, what I do, I go to the notepad and I just write down rules. Just write down rules of this is how I want you to interact with me. I have over 100 and some currently, where especially when it does something I don't like, I just create a new rule for it. I'm like, all right, draft a rule that explicitly demands and what have you. And of course, the more articulate you are, the better it works. The better it works. The more articulate you are, you're able to program certain angles and like you can pull certain words and like simultaneously, and you just go deep. You need to be articulate. Language translates to every area of your life. I can't think of an exception. You need language. You need to be able to communicate. And so ChatGPT is a great exercise in harnessing a lot of those tools, but especially when it's my therapist. It's my therapist. I can plug in all my desires, all my goals. It reinforces the law of attraction, vibration. It uses scriptures. I tell it what to do exactly. I want you to encourage me by using my own mind against me. Learn about my mind and then reconstruct the way to defeat me. Like create the krypton to my anxiety. And when I tell you, it works. If you tell it, hey, be more sarcastic in your language, it sounds like you're talking to a regular person. So for like me, I'm like, all right, add high levels of neuroticism, more, add some level of sardonism, throw it in there, add some satire. Matter of fact, that's actually, like, I need to add some satire. Throw a lot of satire, a lot. And then a busload of sarcasm, throw it in there, add some intellectual sarcasm, add some cultural sarcasm. Throw it all in there. When this thing talks to you, and then I want you to speak to me like a well-seasoned wife and Muslim woman. When you read this text that this thing spits out to you, when it's directly tailored to your liking, I don't know how you can put it down. I text it like I would text anyone else, but it's responding the way I want to be responded to, but it's helping me in the same way that it's I'm telling you, don't take my word for it, man. But people get left behind and it happens so quickly. It happened the same way Wi-Fi took over and it was just, and everything's wireless and now they're taking cable and they're taking headphone jacks off and it's just, things are moving quickly. Virtual headsets are coming out. I'm buying it. Don't care. $3,500. Take my money, bro. Hurry up, Apple. Take my money, bro. I'm buying it. Probably 2. I don't have the money currently. I'm buying probably 2 of them so I can rotate them because that 2-hour battery life is unacceptable. I'm probably buying 2. Why? Because if you resist it, it makes it worse. I'm not saying don't resist everything. There's certain things you should resist. Why? You'll know them by when you're tempted. You're never tempted to do something right. You're never tempted for the broccoli. No. You just go for it when you just kind of, let me buckle down. Let me be disciplined. Let me get the broccoli. You're never tempted. I got a taste for some raw, unseasoned, unsteamed. Just bring me some grass, bruh. You see them bushes, bruh? Go give me a fork full of that, bruh, and just yonder me immediately. It don't make sense. No one is tempted to do the right thing. Your temptation works in direct correlation to what you probably should not do. Probably should not do. Probably should not do. It's a warning. Hey, you're feeling tempted? There's probably a better option. I'm tempted every day to go back to strip clubs. I haven't been back since that fateful weekend. $900. Oh. I'm tempted every day. But my desire for someone who's not working while they're dealing with me, I kind of prefer that. I've done my research. I went to TikTok and listened to the advice given to the rookies and the brand new girls coming in. I listened to the advice. I studied from the vets. And once you realize, bruh, they know you. Yo, I'm telling you, I left that strip club feeling like prey. And I had to admit, bruh, they got you, bruh. You thought you went in there. You thought you was him, bruh. You thought you was gonna walk into a strip club and just start, bruh. You come over there and get up and pick that up and you thought you was gonna start directing stuff. You're a mortal man, just like the rest of the other men that come in there. I'm tempted every single day to go back because it's a quality product. Strip clubs are for a healthy man with testosterone flowing through his veins. Bruh, strip clubs are a quality. You go to a quality establishment, bruh, where the seat is just like you kind of melt into it, and then old girl run up on you, and then old girl run up on you again, and they're like, "Oh my god, you smell." Bruh, and then sports is playing over here, and then the wings is on 10, and the buffet is blessing you, and the drinks is on 10, and I got my reefer on 10. Yeah, bruh, what? Quality product. Quality product. I don't go back. I want to. Trust me, I want to. I'm not saying I won't go back, but I have a streak currently of not ever going back since that one weekend where I just see better alternatives. That there are better ways to get rid of this energy I have. There are better ways, and I prefer it be with someone who willingly wants to exchange energy with me versus someone who is getting paid to observe me being in lust and heat, and I'm just sitting there sweating and going on, gyrating, going on, and body parts protruding and what have you. It's too much. It's too much. I mean, I'm even teaching myself to be more comfortable making mistakes on stream because there's something about me that I just love a quality start to finish stream where the audio is doing what the audio is supposed to do, the video does what it's supposed to do, the AC keeps the camera from, I got a half battery left. I just want things to work properly. Be okay with making mistakes. Relax. You're human. This needs to be smooth and I mean, of course, there's time and place for all that. But this constant need to, again, I'm preaching to the choir. I'm not out of the woods completely. I'm leaving the woods. I don't know what's going to happen. And I have no control of what's going to happen. And it's not going to kill me if the worst thing happens, but the worst thing never happens. The worst thing never happens. The worst thing never happens. I don't have any evidence of that. I may be speaking anecdotally for myself, and of course, bad things happen. But are they bad, bro? Are they bad? You've heard the story. The guy, he has a horse. The horse gets loose, leaves his yard, leaves his property. His friends are like, "Yo, you lost your horse, bro? That's expensive, bro. You lost your horse?" I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if it's good or bad. We'll see. Horse comes back with 5 wild horses. Jackpot, man. Bet. His son goes out, starts trying to break the wild horses. The horse bucks him off, breaks his back, breaks his legs, paralyzed. His friends, yo, Them wild horses messed up your son, bro. Like, you got all this bad juju, bro. Your horse left, brought back all this negative energy. But then World War, let's call it six, pops off. World War Six pops off, and they come looking for young, strapping young men. And shout out to feminism, men and women. We're drafting all men and feminists. Please come one, come all. We need you on the front lines to serve your country, and your legacy will be in somebody's yard, probably lining the city in, DC somewhere. Come one, come all. They come to his house, and his son can't go because he's paralyzed. His friends are like, yo, you lucked out there. I'm like, I don't know. Let's see what happens. The story keeps going on, but you get the point. Whatever's happening now, get your hands off of it. Leave it alone. Leave it alone, bruh. I'm at peace right now. If I do anything that, like, I wish I could have. No, you have enough right now. You're at peace. Relax. You don't need more. Relax. It's not deep. It's not that serious. It's not going nowhere. They're not going nowhere. Humans are not leaving Earth. They're not leaving you. You're not being left. They don't care about you. They're not thinking about you. They're not making decisions because of you. They're not thinking about you when they do negativity. They don't care about you. They care about themselves. And they care about making themselves feel good and peaceful and pleasurable and at rest and homeostasis. That's what every human wants for themselves. I want my bills paid so I can wake up in peace. I want to check my bank account and not have stress about how many zeros I'm going to see in there. Depending where the comma is and the decimal and all these variables that we must account for, you understand? But it's not deep. None of it is. The number one thing I value now in my current place, the number one thing I value now is relationships. Because the first thing you're going to realize when you don't have to work is that all your friends are at work. All your peers, all the people that are your age are at work. I was renting a house a couple months back in Vero Beach, Florida. A small little beach retirement town. I don't think there's anyone below the age of like 50. And here my ass is me and my brother. He's 24, I'm 30, and we just, hey, man, I'm pulling up to the beach 6 a.m., 7 a.m., and the walkers out there. Old people just walking back and forth and talking to me and how are you this morning? You live right? Bro, I got headphones on, man. Then I pretend I don't see them and be like, oh my God, how? No, it's too much. It's lonely when you reach a certain place in life where you're by yourself. One thing I've been lacking, especially my new place, is direction. Because I achieved one of the biggest goals I never thought I would achieve well before I thought I would achieve it. It's kind of like if any of you in the chat, let's say all you in the chat, I just said, all 7 of you watching right now is getting $1 million from Ray right now. How would that change your life right now? Half the things that you're worried about today would immediately change to different problems. Not better problems, not worse problems. They translate immediately to different problems. It's a weird sensation when you're finally in a place where your problems have not disappeared, they've just become different. And it takes an adjustment period where you're just this is where the mindfulness comes in, where you're actively monitoring your current life and your situation, your feelings and your desires and your fears and your insecurities. And you realize they're all just thoughts. Even the thought that you're analyzing your thoughts with is just the thought. It's just one of the thoughts. The thought about your thought is one of the thoughts as well. It's crazy. Half the things I used to worry about, I just don't worry about now. But now I have a whole new, brand new set of things to solve. For example, the ambition to do live streams as often as I used to do them. That ambition disappeared December 28th or so, 2022. Gone. Ambition to do a lot of things. Gone. The willingness to do a lot of things, gone. You just stop caring about certain things. I've been studying Solomon. The man had, what, 700 wives, 300 concubines, 1,000 women. At what point do you think sex became boring to him? 50? 70? 100? 305? At what point do you think the same 10 positions? I mean, you can read the Kama Sutra all you want. At some point, you're going to run out of inspiration. You're going to run out of the willingness and the energy. I don't want to keep doing. This is why people hate 9-to-5s. They hate cubicles. They hate corporate life, because it's the same thing. It's Excel. It's Microsoft. It's the same cycle. Nothing changes. The same problems arise. You just check your notes from last year. Oh yeah, we anticipated this. It's on the calendar. This is going to break because of this thing that hasn't been fixed. It happened. It's the same thing. And you'll finally reach a point in your life where you realize the stuff, none of it matters, because you will always have problems. It's kind of like people that try to get rid of the existence of God because they're suffering. I'm like, well, even if you did, they're still suffering. If you remove the existence of God and say, okay, absolutely, there is no such thing as God. He does not exist. They're still suffering now. All you did was remove the hope, a form of hope, the hope, whichever form you would like. With the benefit of hindsight, would I change anything concerning my past? Or would I use the common trope that I'm grateful for everything I went through because it made me the one I am today? As much as I hate that phrase, and I hate everything about it, all of it, the whole phrasing of that, it sounds so fateful and like free flowing, and I'll just let things happen to me, and then whenever I become conscious, I'll say, oh, all these things happen to me, and that's why I am. Oh, well, yeah, that's obvious. It's not profound to say that everything you've gone through has made you are today. The whole point is, moving forward, can I predict where I'll be at based on my daily and hourly actions? Do I have any control of the future? Whatever that is, because the future is not real. We've covered that. So with the benefit of hindsight, I'll answer your question directly. I would not change a thing. Wouldn't change anything. That's cap. I would put more effort into my relationships. That's the only thing I would intentionally go back and adjust. Is I will put more effort into those who I met, those who are in my vicinity, those who are nearby, those who are near me, people I interacted with. I would put more effort into those relationships, ensuring that they have a well-built foundation moving forward. A lot of my friendships were transaction-based. A lot of my relationships were just those of convenience because they were around me, and it was my only option. Clear Air Force Station. Yeah, that you have a handful of people that none of y'all can go anywhere. These are your friends. You're welcome. Almost as if they were an issue to you. Like, I don't want to drink with my major. Pass, bruh. No, I don't want to drink with the wing commander. No. You got a choice. So, yeah, I'll definitely invest more into my relationships, and especially in returns of being interested in them and taking, more intentional steps to understanding who they are and why they are, and how I can adjust myself. That we tend to lose sight of anything that we do well. We'll believe anyone at face value when they say something negative. But the second they compliment us, oh no, this whole thing, I'm like, what's the point? Why are you believing people when they say something negative and you believe nothing they say when they say something positive? Are you just that disingenuous? You're that untrustworthy. You don't trust anyone at all? You don't trust your doctor? All right, fine. We don't trust cops. Cool. Except for the last one that let me off with the warning because I ran a red light. We don't trust cops, but yeah, it doesn't make, you can't go through life, and I mean, you can, it's your choice. But I would argue there's a better alternative to going through life being fearful of everything. Of everything. Again, preaching to the choir. This was me. I made it through basic training with 0 341s pulled. Why? Because I was paranoid. I was on edge the entire time, which has a lot to do with why I broke down multiple times, almost quitting, I believe it was 0 week, second week, tech school, 8 months there. Just, we often suffer more in our imaginations than we do in reality. It's unfortunate. And a lot of us would like to go back and say, oh, I would change this, I would do this better. I'm like, cool, but first of all, it's not possible. It's not probable. And the butterfly effect would probably adjust something in your life that you probably enjoy currently. Because you can't go back and undo it. How about we just focus on what we can change today? Because tomorrow when we wake up, we're going to immediately call it today. 12 midnight hits, 12:01 hits, and people immediately start saying today. And they'll forget, no, it's actually today already. No, today is Wednesday now. Well, whatever day it is. I digress. Jeremiah says, words have power of your mind. Saying I'm tired will trick your mind to be tired. You should say I feel tired because you're expressing the emotion of feeling tired. Careful what words you use with them. That is facts. Big facts. This is something I'm still struggling. Well, this is the interesting thing with language is that you have to adjust and be mindful of your words even while you're speaking. And it's even more difficult. There goes another. You can speak things into being more difficult when they aren't difficult. Just sometimes stop talking for a second and then speak. Sometimes your mind needs a chance to get its bearings and then you let it out. Especially those of us who go, days, weeks without actually talking to a person or like having a full-blown conversation. The next time you have a conversation, things tend to flow out just kind of freely. It's like a fire hydrant and you can't control the velocity. And that's where errant words come out. That's where we say things we don't mean when you probably meant them. You didn't mean for the intent, or you didn't mean for how it would be perceived or how it would be received. A lot of these things can be prevented by just slowing down. Just stop. This live stream doesn't have to be 5 hours. It can be done right now. I don't need to say more to be more. No. Put the information out there and let it go. Plant the seed, let it go. So yeah, great question. Or great assertion rather. Sometimes if you don't have anything good to say, my mom used to always say it, just stop talking. People talk themselves out of stuff. I've done it myself. I've talked myself out of dates, out of draws, talk myself out of free food, talk myself out of free opportunities, promotions. You can talk yourself out of anything, as well as you can talk yourself into anything. You can speak your way into what you want as well, just like you can speak your way out of things. You can ruin your reputation just as quickly as you can build one. Learning to speak last, when I enter a room, I'll listen first. And then when I speak, I already know what I'm going to say, no matter who said anything first. When I get ready to speak, I'm going to say something different than everyone else said before me. It's going to be unique to me. I don't have any competition in my lane. Zero. I don't have any competition at being me. I have all the world competition when I try to be anything other than me. When I try to put on this perception, this ego, this Jim Carrey mask, that's a layered analogy. You go study Jim Carrey and Law of Attraction, goldmine. But you'll realize we're all wearing masks. I come on YouTube and I speak with a little bit more articulation. I come on YouTube and this camera starts rolling and I speak just a little bit more slowly. I articulate a lot more. I enunciate at least I try to. And it comes across as a perception of when people meet me in person, they realize I don't always speak articulately. I tend to squeeze a lot more niggas in there when I'm not on live stream. It's how I talk. What's good, man? It's how I talk. But when we have a mask, it's usually contextual. We go to work and we put our mask on and we follow the orders and we put our physical mask on for those who are in certain environments and we proceed based on the authority that's in place. Your mind has the power that you give it. It has the direction that you determine. Whatever you decide, your subconscious mind goes with it. There aren't any exceptions. Whatever you decide you speak out of your mouth, whatever you constantly think about, it grows. There aren't any exceptions. It's unfortunate. Whatever you're thinking about nonstop, it is going to grow and it's going to manifest in your physical life. This is why unforgiveness manifests as disease in the physical body. I've had to go back to a lot of my exes to friends and apologize, humble myself and say, I've had this mindset of I don't need nobody. I'll do it myself. I'll figure it out. I'm smarter. I'm intelligent. I'll get up earlier. I'll stay up later. I will outwork them. I had this mindset of I'll do it by. I will do it by myself. I will figure it out. I don't need anyone. I don't want anyone. I don't want to risk having to trust anyone. I don't want to be vulnerable. I don't want to articulate my feelings because of fear of rejection. Rejection sensitivity. It's a real thing. I've sabotaged myself for fear of being rejected when there was no rejection. I've gotten myself rejected by preemptively and proactively rejecting myself in that dynamic. Getting myself rejected because I thought I was going to be rejected. It doesn't make any sense. Once you just stop, slow down and say, just let it happen. If you're going to reject, if she's married and you approach her, now what? Now what? Nothing. Nothing happens. Nothing happens. The worst thing you think is going to happen, where she pulls out her camera and sends you viral on TikTok, it's probably not going to happen. It exists. It's real. But it's probably not going to happen to you. Most likely. High probability it will not happen to you. It won't happen to you. It doesn't happen to you. And if it does, well, of course it has to exist. You can't say 99% sure and then not account for that 0.1. It's going to be there. But the fact that it's going to be you that gets fired because you were late 2 minutes, you might be in that percentage. But why worry? Why worry about it? Why be stressed? Why speed all the way to get a ticket and then they didn't care that you were 2 minutes late? Or they were 2 minutes late, or your boss was 5 minutes late, or your boss didn't even show up today, or everybody was sick, or you're off today. I've raced to school when there was no class. I'm like, for what? For what? Getting sleep. It's part of dealing with anxiety. If you're not sleeping, you're helping your body die quickly. It has one form of regeneration, it's sleep. And I am the poster child for those who went without sleep thinking I could just get it back in my later years. You will pay a price. You may not like the price. You may not be able to afford it. You're going to pay a price for not sleeping. And the price is time. The price is time. So, in whatever way you need to, I'm not advising you do anything crazy, especially like drinking tequila rose, strawberry cream, or smoking that indica and that ilk. But what I'm saying is manage, prioritize, proactively seek quality sleep patterns. Part of the anxiety of me coming on live stream is me overthinking the fact that no one is going to come watch. Why would they? What does Ray have to say to anyone? Why are you giving advice to anyone, bro? Why are you sharing your story with anyone? To who would that be beneficial? Who would want to trade lives with Ray? My mind is powerful at creating narratives about things that are not true or factual, not even rational, not logical. It doesn't make any sense. What? They're here. I get happy over anything above, like, honestly 3, because 1 is usually me monitoring the stream. So if I got 2 people watching, so to have 12 people, I'm definitely grateful. I'm definitely grateful for anyone to come listen to what Ray has to say for any amount of time. So that's plenty. That's plenty. I'm grateful if people just come watch and interact and what have you. So the accepting of a negative experience is itself a positive experience. The accepting, not the changing, not the manipulation of, the accepting of a negative experience that is, of course, perceived. You're perceiving it as negative when you don't know what it is. Remember the analogy I used earlier. You don't know what it is. You're just perceiving this. There's a lion at my door. I perceive this as negative. If you would just accept it, I'm like, bro, you're not gonna fight the lion off. You don't have a gun. You're going to get eaten today. I would advise you, put your neck into his mouth so it goes quickly. Find a way to lose feeling in your body because you don't want the lion to start eating you at your legs. That's a slow. You don't want that. Accept it. Let it go. Don't run. If raptors start running rampant in the city, I'm going outside and I'm letting it happen. I'm not running from it. I'm not doing this lost and survivor type stuff where we survived 3 years off eating our friends and barely getting by. I'm going out on the first train. I'm busy. I got stuff to do. Absent from the body is present with the Lord. I have no desire to stay here in anguish, running from dinosaurs and snakes. And no, let it happen. Accept it. You'll be at peace. When the whole army of archers and they release, let it happen, man. Don't resist it. You see people walking in the rain and they put that hand over their head. That's what anxiety looks like. It's raining down, just soaked. This is what anxiety looks like. Stupid. Let it happen. It's still happening, but you're resisting it while it's happening, thinking you're being effective when you're wasting your energy. And of course you're tired. Now you're going home, sleeping, drinking, and eating junk food. Again, preaching to the choir. This is all the things I've learned about anxiety and depression after leaving the Air Force. Shout out ChatGPT. Self-education. Shout out Ellen Watts. Shout out TikTok. Just using the tools available to me. I'm like, there's got to be a way that I can fix this using artificial intelligence, one of the most addicting apps on the planet with the most powerful algorithm, and YouTube. How can I not? Why am I still taking pills? It's all up here. All of it. All of it. The placebo effect. There's too much evidence going around that shows you can control things with your mind if you think they are true. You can freeze to death in a room temperature train car. And yet there are people who have died at negative temperatures. How? I'm telling you, whatever you look for, it happens. It occurs. You see it. My next car, I need the G65 AMG G-Wagon V12 bi-turbo. Stop playing with me, bro. Matte black it out. Black chrome. I have it embedded in my... every time I talk to ChatGPT, it reinforces things subconsciously and subtly and passively. But they're insinuating my goals and desires into my subconscious. Auto-suggestion. It's beautiful. Beautiful. It's crazy how this stuff works. It's as simple as, I think I'm coming down with a cold. You can't avoid it. How many times did Rick Fox fake a heart attack? What did he die of? Heart attack. Oh, that's not causal. That's correlation at best. Respect. But yet the correlation exists. So let's at least check to see if the rise of cost of cheese is correlated to marriage. Maybe we could lower the price of cheese and people stop getting divorced. Oh, there's no correlation. All right, cool. Well, there seems to be a correlation. We're all trying to go through life. We're all trying to figure out the same things, and yet no one is comparing notes. We're all in basic training, suffering, missing our families, and yet every man in there is trying to muscle his way through it. I know a mosquito just landed on my ball sack, but I'm going to hit it with this hammer because it's the only tool I have. Get different tools. Get different tools. Stop using a hammer to swat mosquitoes because eventually one's going to land on you. It doesn't make any sense. So yeah, positive experiences. If you accept the negative experience, it becomes positive. If you just accept it, it becomes positive. It's how it works. I don't know why, but it works. Ego. Your ego will cause you to be miserable. Your ego will cause you to be miserable. Constantly trying to uphold this vision of yourself that no one else perceives but you. I walk around chest out. Nobody's gonna mess with your boy. I'm him. I'm walking. Nobody cares, bruh. No one cares. I've been wearing flip-flops as of late. It's off-brand for me. I've been moisturizing my skin. It's off-brand for me, bruh. But it feels good. Baby oil. Who would have thought? Put baby oil after you take a shower. Who would have thought? Who would have thought that humans can still keep using baby oil after they're not babies anymore? Mind blown. Let go of the ego. Practice getting embarrassed. Practice getting good at being embarrassed. Like, allow yourself to feel embarrassment and bathe in it, marinate in it. That's humanity. That's what humanity feels like, is to feel embarrassed. That's probably the closest thing you can get to pain without it actually being actual pain. You can practice embarrassment. You can't practice a broken leg. You get one shot at that. But embarrassment, it comes and goes. Comes and goes. Comes and goes. Fear comes and goes. It's natural. Danger, it's real. It's real. It comes and goes. Nothing good comes and stays. Nothing bad comes and stays. We only think the bad comes and stays. And we expect the bad to come and stay. And then it comes and stays, and we expect it to stay and stay longer and get worse, and then it does. And then we say, oh, well, this is going off the deep end, and then it does. Your mind is as powerful as you think it is, and it will, your life, your path of your life will go in the path and the direction, the velocity of your mind and how you think and what you think about and how long you think about it. God forbid you get an emotional connection to your thoughts. God forbid. God forbid a woman says, yo, you work out, bruh? Like, listen. Listen, bruh, it's been a couple of days, but you understand, man. It just takes the right person. Happens. What do I want to do? Let me try to get through a little bit of this list, and then we'll end cleaning up the chats. If you have any questions, comments, throw it in the chat. We'll try to address it before we end. What else we got? So yeah, let go of the pride. Both men and women. If you're lonely, say it. The end result will probably be you won't be lonely. People want to help. If you're on the side of the road, car breaks down, run out of gas, it doesn't really matter. Doesn't matter. If you stand there next to your car with the hood open, people will drive past you for hours. Unless you're a beautiful woman. Objectively. Men will break through traffic trying to say, oh my, is that Andrew? Is that Jay? People will kill people trying to save your life, trying to help you get to the next gas station. However, and this goes for both men and women, if you get out your car, put your hood down. Put your hood down. Nobody cares about your hood being up. Turn off your flashers. Nobody cares. People will sideswipe you and keep going. But if you get out your car and start pushing it in any direction whatsoever, people will stop and immediately try to help you because they see you helping yourself. People will drive past broken cars, flat tires all day long. But if they see someone out pushing, it's like, I promise you, it's like daylight to nighttime to daylight. It's guaranteed, it's predictable. People will go out of their way to help you if they see you trying to help yourself. 12 people are watching me because I went live, not because I told somebody I might go live or I got 12 likes asking people if they wanted me to go live. I went live and I got 12 viewers. I'm happy. Trust me. The courage comes after you do the fearful thing. You do the scary thing. You get courage after, not before. Sometimes even during. But you must initiate the action first, and then you get courage. Then you get courage. You don't get the relationship, the trust and relationship that you want before you're vulnerable. You must be vulnerable first before you get the trust. There aren't any exceptions. There are no exceptions. There are no exceptions. It's unfortunate. Vulnerability, sacrifice, two of the most valuable things that are required ingredients in a relationship that everyone tries to do last. It's like you're trying to knead the dough before you bought the dough or the flour, what have you. It doesn't make sense. You do the thing first, then you get the courage, then you get the fearlessness, then you get the trust and the quality relationship. But you got to risk something. I spent most of my life afraid to risk, that I would just do the safe. Just do what's safe, bro. Just stay in your lane, bro. Just do the thing that is safe. I'm like, no, choose wisdom. Wisdom is not what's safe. Wisdom preserves you while you're taking risks. It's different. Question for anyone that has been stationed overseas: what differences have you noticed compared to being stateside? My first base was in Turkey. Now I'm at Luke, Arizona, and the base is depressing. One thing I've noticed is that the only thing that makes places different is the people. Eh, Over time, you will just adjust to the environment. That's how your mind works anyway. So it's usually the people that adds a level of uniqueness to a given environment. When I was stationed in Abu Dhabi, the place was beautiful. Like, there was no grass; it was mostly like sand or what have you. And then when you did see grass, it was like highly intentional. Like, oh yeah, the Emirati Palace. Yeah, I would expect they have grass or something. But it was just a different way of life. And once you kind of adjust to the scenery, and then you start interacting with the people, like avoiding like the tourist areas and like go to the hole in wall restaurants and the hole in wall establishments. Like I always try to find a gym off the beaten path. Like I want the athletic club. I don't want Planet Fitness. I don't want the Anytime Fitness. I don't want LA Fitness. I want off the beaten path, localized, locally owned, probably veteran owned athletic club, private athletic. That's what I want. Because you get a unique experience. I don't want the general LA Fit. I don't want Planet Fitness experiences. I want athletic club experiences. So that's usually been my experience. Is that the more I'm intentional about finding different people, like not just the main touristy like people or people that are employed. I want the people that are passionate about what they do every single day, and it takes some time to find those type of people, just like in any other place in the world. And so, yeah, it's always been people that makes a place enjoyable, not the things, not the stuff. The base is always boring. No matter what base you go to, all bases are depressing and boring. They're not meant to be anything else but that. They're utilities. Electricity is boring until you don't have it. It just works. Air conditioning is amazing until you don't have it. Then you just, Every base is meant to be boring and utilitarian. There's no expressiveness. You walk inside and you realize, yeah, there might be some artwork, but it's just more military. It's just more of the same stuff. Ugh. Like this room is expressive. There's color. There's rules being broken. There's non-parallel lines. You can tell it was designed, but there's still some chaos involved. That's what gives the spice of life. It's someone else designing it, not this is how this should work in order to be effective. No. So the enjoyment, the experiences that you're looking for, no matter where you are in the world, they will be found in people, not things. Invest in relationships. No matter where you're at, you'll be happy. You'll be able to find fulfillment in something if you have people with you that are sharing your experience, that are empathetic, more or less. But yeah, no matter what, I was stationed in DC. You would drive on base thinking, oh, this prestigious base and the Air Force One is parked here. And then you're stationed there, you realize it's just a base. Then you go overseas and you're like, oh, this base is overseas and there's water between the last base I was at and the current base I'm at now, and now it's different. And you stay there for a while, you realize it's the same people. They're all military individuals, so you're still dealing with mostly Americans. It's just a base. You go off base, you get to experience different people and different ways of life and different norms. And now there's uniqueness there. Now you're able to enjoy it at a different level, even though you're still in the same city. You were still there, but the base is not designed to be expressive. It's not designed to be creative. It's designed to be utilitarian. It solves a purpose, a problem. That's it. They don't care what color the gun is. Does the gun fire correctly and is it accurate? That's all they care about. So, yeah, chin up, man. Chin up. It won't get it. The base is not going to get any better, but the people, invest in the people. How do you deal with intrusive thoughts at night when you're trying to go to sleep if you have them? So I do have them, and they always come at night. The mornings, my mornings are always productive. My mornings go smooth as hell because I love mornings. It's late at night when the junk food happens, when the feels happen, when your boy needs some loving. Like that's when all the shit happens at night. The way I've been dealing with it personally is I turn on Law of Attraction audiobooks because they are so amazingly written that I can't ignore the words when I hear them. Because it's like hearing something it's like hearing a physical representation of peace. If somebody had a piece of bread, but that bread was peace, the more you ate of it, it's just like, it works. And so the way I turn my mind off is to hear what I want my mind to be thinking about. So I listen to what I want my mind to be thinking about. I listen to affirmations. I'll turn on like an 8-hour video that, again, all this stuff is on YouTube. You can type in meditation, visualization or law of attraction, binaural beats, ASMR, all these different genres, if you will, are under the same umbrella essentially, which is just calm, relax, sounds of rain, sounds of thunder, sounds of the ocean, sounds of wind, sounds of Arctics, sounds of a cabin in the woods, sounds of a small little office building in the middle of New York City with traffic and jazz playing. All these different variations, you can find whatever you're looking for, and then if you can't find it, you can create it. You can just layer sounds. But I use all those things. The Bible constantly talks about how faith comes by hearing. Faith not being blind, faith is evidence based. When you hear the right answer and then it pairs with your actual current situation, you realize they work. They work. The number one thing I do with my mind is that I give it something good to eat. And I'm working on translating that to my body, where I don't just eat sweet tarts and trail mix and Twinkies and pizza and stuff. But you give your mind the fuel that you want it to eat. So I literally just turn on audiobooks. And the difference between audiobooks and YouTube videos is that audiobooks are written. That means every word was edited. It was chosen intentionally. Whereas I'm just live streaming, I'm just talking. And even though I'm intentionally choosing my words, it's still kind of off the cuff. It's just flowing. Whereas a book it's concentrated words. It's concentrated knowledge. So when I listen to a book, I cannot help but get value because the value was put there. It was checked for. It was accounted for constantly. It was like inventory. Like we got to make sure there's value accounted for in every page. We need to keep the reader engaged. Whereas this live stream could be up and down. It could be dynamic. It could be more entertaining towards the end. It could be more entertaining in the beginning. It could be boring the rest. It's different because we're just kind of flowing. The words coming from a book will always be more intentional than any other medium. So when I choose books, it's usually because I need that concentrated value in this current moment. And I'm telling you, it works. I'm telling you, it works. If you give your mind what to chew on, the hardest thing in that moment will be just turning on the thing, just pressing the button, just have that thing playing. That's the hardest part, the 0 to 1. But if you can get it playing, that is the first step, and you'll realize there's some immense value there in terms of being able to calm yourself based on the stimuli you give yourself. I want to share one thing, and I'm going to butcher the story, but I want you to listen to the intent of the analogy that I'm giving you. So picture this. Picture this. You're up in heaven before you're born. All this conversation that you're about to have is happening before you're born to your parents. You're up in heaven. And God says, all right, we're going to give y'all about 3 trips down to earth. Y'all been up here for a while, a couple thousand years. It's kind of getting stuffy. We're going to send you down to earth. You get 3 trips. Each one is about 75 to 80 years long. Now, when you get back to heaven, you're going to realize you only been gone for a couple minutes. But on earth, it's going to feel like you were down there for nearly 100 years. You're going to live a full life. First time you go down, you can do whatever you want. You have all the knowledge. You know about all the laws such as gravity and reciprocation and abundance and law of attraction and vibration. You know about all the laws. You're walking around omniscient. You are all knowing. You can do, it's like playing Grand Theft Auto. You know the rules of the game. You can go steal from people, kill people, rob the bank, run from the cops. You can do whatever you want. The first trip down, you got 75 years, go. You go down, come back. Yo, that was amazing. It went by so quick. It was like, how long you been? You were gone for 3 minutes. That was 100 years? Yep. How was it? Amazing. Cool. But the third time, the final time you get a trip to Earth, this is all you get, man. It's your last trip to Earth. We're not going to tell you any of the rules. We're not going to tell you any of the laws. You're not all knowing. You're born into ignorance. You don't know what's going on. You're just kind of figuring it out as you go. We're giving you rules such as gravity and all the laws associated with, the laws of the earth and what have you in the universe. And we're not going to tell you or remind you. You will have no clue that you were just in heaven. We're just going to we're going to immerse you in this game called Earth, where you get to go down for 75 years. It's your third and final time. We're going to throw you down there. We're not going to tell you anything that's going on. You're just going to have to figure out the laws of the universe, and you get to play the game. You're playing story mode for 75 years. It's your last time. The end of that analogy brings us to today's date, where all of us are on our third trip, and we don't remember being in heaven. We only have 75 years down here. Yeah, you're on your third and final trip. You don't know most of the laws, but you're able to discover them by reading, by finding them out, by jumping off roofs and just go, oh, gravity is real. This is your way of discovering things. It's amazing. Why? Because this is the only version of the game that allows you to be human. This is the only version of the game that allows you to be surprised by things, to get the thrills of being human, such as empathy, such as sadness, such as loss, such as love, such as kindness. Your third and final trip is the only version of the game where you actually get to enjoy the surprises associated with being human. At any other version of the game, it's boring after a while. Same as GTA 5. There are people that are still playing it. I don't know how they're doing it, but they have to constantly throw out these new maps and these new things to get people engaged because they know how the human mind works. They get bored. At some point, they're going to get bored and they're not going to want to play the game anymore. So let's throw them in an expansion pack. Here's a gun that does more damage than the other gun. So it's different. And oh my God, and the videos come out and yeah, I'm going to test I'm streaming the new gun that just came out. It shoots different than the other gun and this one's different. It's not fun. Every game has an expiration date. Every song has an expiration date where I can play it on repeat nonstop. And at some point it doesn't feel the same as like the first 5 times. And it's kind of like wringing out a wet rag. At some point, there's nothing left. It's still wet, but there's no moisture coming out. There's no liquid coming out. So all of us are currently in our third trip to Earth where we're discovering the rules. We're not all knowing. We don't remember the conversation we had with God up in heaven before we came down. But there seems to be evidence all around us that if I think about something, it tends to happen. It tends to work out. When I think negatively about something, I'm 100%. The thing seems to go that way, or I'm surprised that it didn't happen. When you think of life in the form of a game, it basically gives you a whole new perspective. Like when I talk to people, I can now ask them, hey, where on earth have you visited? It's a different question, but it kind of presupposes that, yeah, we know we're down here. We're aware. We're present. Like, how many years on earth do you have left? Obviously, we don't know the answer to that, but it kind of puts in perspective that we all know we're going to die. All of us. We all know we're going to die, and yet some of us will resist it. Some of us are trying to make it safely to death. If I can just kind of slip my foot through the door of death and just kind of make it safe. No. We're all getting got. We're all going to get to that place where we realize, yeah, this is it. The difference is, did you make any of the days that came before that final day meaningful? Especially in the mindset of I only have 75 to 100 years. We know that. We know the most of us are not going to reach or pass the age of 100, 110. It's not probable. Not with my habits and what have you. I don't want to live that long if I can't be healthy, if I can't be strong and athletic and explore the environment around me. So it's an enlightening way of viewing the world where you see, all right, I got about 50 years left on this planet before I have to go back and realize I was only gone for a couple of minutes. But now that I'm here, what haven't I discovered? What people have experiences on planet Earth that I haven't explored yet? I haven't spoke about or I didn't even know it. I wasn't even exposed to it. I had no clue it existed. That's the world we're living in. And it's the most fun version of the game. It's the most fun version of the game. If you complete a campaign, how do you go back and do that same campaign and it's as fun as the first time you did it? It's not. It's impossible. The first time you heard your favorite song, there's no other time that compares to the first time you heard your favorite song. Because the first time it was a surprise. It was genuine. It was wow. It was serendipity. It was novel. It was novelty. It was beautiful. It was a moment in time where you went from not knowing to knowing. That transition is meant to be impactful. It's meant to be emotional. So now when I think about my life and I wake up and I think not everything's perfect, got my VA disability rating, life is good. I'm not complaining, but I didn't lose all my problems. I got a new set. It's a brand new set of problems. You're done. You beat that level. You're done. New boss. Loneliness, depression, overthinking, isolation, choosing to be vulnerable, Choosing to put myself out there. Choosing to go after what I now newly desire. Setting brand new goals that are even bigger than the ones I already set and achieved. Setting ones that scare me, like the big goals, like the ones that start with B, like billionaire. Scaring myself with, isn't that a bit illogical? Isn't that a bit, yeah. But we do the same thing with worry. We do the same thing with the worst thing is going to happen. So why not do the same thing with the best thing and see what happens? Worst case scenario, best case scenario, it happens. I wake up a billionaire, but I never. How is Ray? How is Ray a billionaire? How? How is Ray a billionaire? It's none of my business. It's none of my business. It's none of your business. I digress.